How's everybody doing? Everything's all right? How's the semester going for everyone? Good, good. Yeah, I'm great. I'm awesome. Okay. Have like two machines. One I'm going to be presenting from, the other one I'm like monitoring the chat as well. So sorry if I'm going to be like looking in two places. You can hear me all right? Everything's good. We can roll.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Awesome.
Have you decided to stack?
Sorry?
Have you decided to touch stack? Like, are you going to go Flutter?
We basically, I had a poll on Discord. I don't know if you followed that or not, but
I'm not in Discord channel. So
oh,
I
okay.
didn't get any invite.
Send me an email or send me like a DM here, I think on Zoom. I'll try and add you to Discord if you're part of the club. Probably I'm gonna actually send you my email and just so I don't forget about it. I don't want to do it right now.
Fernando and
yeah, we had a poll on Discord and we decided to go with React. There were some votes for Flutter as well, and I've decided that React is more popular. People seem to like it. We'll just go with it, see how it goes. It also makes more sense to do the website with React. So this should be the one. Okay, I'm gonna do some housekeeping, and like this first session is probably gonna be, I don't know, mostly brainstorming. I'll obviously show some code, but not too much. Well, actually, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So if you're not on our Discord, you probably haven't heard of this, but we have a GitHub organization where we basically host all of our projects. You can see that there are a lot of repositories of the events that we held already. And we also have a repo for the website that I'm going to be developing. So here it is. It's just very, very simple. The only thing that I did so far was run create React app. If you actually, let's do some like health check here, I guess. Like, who has never done anything in React? So I kind of understand how should I explain this. Okay, perfect. We have people that never touched it at all whatsoever. Cool. So I'll probably begin with some small intro, and we'll dive into like how we're gonna do all of these things and so on. Also, okay, yeah. So React is one of the frameworks you would use for front-end development. I mean, the first basic thing you use is like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all of those types of things. But then it becomes like hard to manage and hard to maintain as well. So what Facebook came up with was React. And I'm just gonna go to this page here. So actually, I think the tutorial shows a good example of what React is beyond like JavaScript and HTML. So it's the ability of like mixing things. So here you can see that it's like a JavaScript class, but you'll also mixing in your HTML and returning different statements. So what this allows you to do is instead of returning strings of HTML, it actually, so this this syntax is called JSX in React land. So what this allows you to do is to mix your markup and your JavaScript, your rendering logic, and the actual markup code that's going to render what you see on the screen. And that's what we're going to do today, basically. That's like React in a nutshell. I know it's like probably not going to explain you much if you haven't heard of it ever. If you have any questions, I always welcome any questions that people have. If they're very basic, if they're more like into in depth, I can answer anything. Just either put something in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, interrupt me as much as you want. Like, I don't want this to be super structured and super like weird for everybody. Probably just came here to learn something. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. All right, so back to GitHub. We have our repository here, which basically represents the code that we're going to be developing. You already see a bunch of files in here. All of this was generated for me. So the only couple of steps that you need to do to get set up and familiar with what I'm doing here is install Node.js. Node will be required for any kind of JavaScript development you'll do in your like front-end development. NPM stands for Node Package Management. You'll realize that there are a lot of like third-party integrations and like packages that you bring in. React is a package that we'll bring in. So you'll need these two at least installed in your system. I'm not going to go through how to install them. It's going to take too much time. If you want to just research this on the side. If you have any issues, though, feel free to reach out and I can help you out after the session. And yeah, I mean, like housekeeping wise, we're going to be using GitHub for collaboration and like sharing the code and all of this. I'm using VS Code. You can use whatever IDE you're used to edit code. It's totally up to you. So this is the same exact repository, but pulled down from GitHub on my local machine, and I'm going to be editing in VS Code. There are some IntelliJ alternatives, whatever is comfortable for you. All right, what should I talk about first? Well, let's see, what are we building? We're building a replacement for, come on, I can click. We're building a replacement for this Google Doc. So we kind of, me and Alexander, we put this doc together. It has links to important portals and important resources for our club. But this is ugly. This is like very, very not manageable, and it's a Google Doc. Like, it would be nice to just send people a website, and people like whoever wants to join the club can go to the website and have these links in a nice format with like icons and stuff. So that's what we're going to be building at the bare minimum. I have a lot of stuff planned for this. Like, for example, one of those links is the schedule, right? So the schedule is just a Notion calendar, which we can pretty easily integrate into our website. I don't think building a calendar is that complex. Just, I mean, like maybe taking into account time zones, but even building something very simple shouldn't be too hard. Just for like, considering everybody's from Canada, and I mean, we'll think about like time zones and challenges when we get there, but this is like one of the ideas that I wanted to incorporate. Another one is like blog posts. So we do emails every month. I create emails for all the members, just of the stuff that's going on in the club. But it would be nice to have some like a blog page where people can read about what's happening in the club, and some maybe retros on events, post-event stuff, things like that. Also, I mean, actually admitting people to our organization would be cool. So imagine a person comes into the website, logs in with their GitHub account, and they are automatically added to our organization. That would be pretty cool. So things like that. I had some ideas. If you have ideas about the website, I always welcome new things. So this is a pretty good segue into like how to contribute to this website, even before we get to coding anything. How can you help me build the website and maybe even write some code? So actually, let me paste this in. How does Zoom work? Can I get in the chat? Okay, I can get the chat. I'm gonna paste the link to the project. So this is the repo. I admitted some people to the organization, so you should have access to pull this repo down. If you're not, by the way, some people are not familiar with Git or GitHub, please make sure to watch some of our earlier videos, or I mean, at your own time. I'm going to be mostly developing the website and showing how to work with React. Of course, there are going to be more setup steps here that I'm going to be showing as well, but things like Git and GitHub, I'm not going to spend too much time on, because I just assume you know what it is. So if you want to get up to speed, if you think you lack some things, make sure to either rewatch our earlier videos or learn it at your own pace. Having said that, if you have any questions of what I'm doing, then feel free to ask. Can we sign using Conestoga email ID? Do you mean like in GitHub or in the websites, or what is this question? Oh, in GitHub, I mean, whatever website, sorry, whatever login works for you. It doesn't, I don't care.
Yeah, the link which you just shared actually means the github.com GDSC Conestoga website. So
sorry, can you say that again?
yeah, the link which you just shared on the chat. So actually I just opened that in the browser.
Okay.
So it's asking me for the sign in actually, because I don't because there is no account right now. So I was thinking to sign in using like Conestoga ID, but I thought maybe I should just ask before.
If you don't have a GitHub account, create one with whatever email you want. It's up to you.
Okay, so is it okay like if I use like Conestoga email ID like for that?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I don't. It's your personal GitHub. You'll use it a lot during your career. So pick the email that works for you. You can change it later if you want. Okay. So that's basically right. Where was I? Explaining how GitHub will work. So you'll notice that, and this might not be visible to all people, I realize. So please let me know if you can access some of these tabs. There might be some like permission issues here. But I have this projects tab, and in my projects that I create, it's a very useful tab to have a plan for what you're going to be doing. So they announced like a beta project, which I don't really get. And for now, like I'm going to leave it out, but essentially historically it's been this project tab that's closer to the bottom, and that's what I'm used to using. And I've set up some issues here. So issues, people are not familiar, just either suggestions or like bugs with the software in question. Right now, all of my issues are enhancements. Like I just spit my ideas out and kind of had a plan for today, what we're going to be doing. So yeah, for today, for example, I want to set up our website so anybody can access it anywhere using Firebase deployment. I'm probably going to integrate the website with Firebase and kind of show how that works. So using Firebase hosting for deployment makes most sense. And also adding some CI/CD. So this is a more advanced topic, but essentially what this will allow us to do is when we commit our changes to this repository to GitHub, it will automatically update our website on whatever link it's accessed at on Firebase. And I'll show how that works. So yeah, those are, if we can get these done today, that'd be great. But there are much more more things that I'm going to be covering here. So when I'm saying I'm open to suggestions and I'm open to ideas, the best way to propose something for the project or for the website, or maybe something that you want to work on, is open an issue. And you can access all of these in the issues tab. Now you can see all of these cards are basically just separate issues in this list. And sorry, Zoom is in the way. And you can create a new issue and kind of just say what you want to add. Maybe like, I don't know, change the color of the title or something very, very simple. It shouldn't be anything super complex, a high level. And we can talk about it here. So whenever I create a new issue, maybe I'm actually going to show an example here. So I don't know, let's say that you have a site deployed and you don't like the, I don't know, the color of the app bar. And you'll say like change app bar color. We'll say, I think that the red color, for whatever reason, would work better. Right, and that's a new issue. Everybody can see it. I can see it. And I can go here and say, hey, like we can talk here, we can exchange messages, just in case some people don't know how issues work, want to go through this so we both understand how this works. But yeah, I can like reply and say, hey, that's a cool enhancement, go and take on doing that. So I mean, I'm going to close this one because this is not up to date. But let's say you created an issue, we talked between each other, and I got it approved. Next thing you want to do is, if you want to actually contribute coding to the website, you would open a pull request. I realize it's going to be like a wormhole going into pull requests and explaining what this is, how to create them. If you're seeing this for the first time, if you're not familiar with this at all, please either message me afterwards or rewatch some of our earlier events on Git and GitHub. We have some of them posted on our YouTube channel, and I'm happy to explain anything after the session as well. I just don't want to take too much time from the actual development. We had a question here. Can we work on this enhancement or add code in it? So yeah, that's a good one. So anything that is posted in the issues tab, you can say, okay, you see there is an enhancement here, right? Like I was thinking about doing like a dark and a light theme for our website. So for example, you can go on this issue and say, hey, I'd like to work on this. This sounds good. Or like, let's talk about it. Let's kind of understand what can be done here. And yeah, so this way you could, we will agree on a kind of a feature that you will be working on, and then you'll create a pull request. that will include your changes to the repository, and then we can merge them in. I'll probably try to like find a good walkthrough of how GitHub works, start to finish, because I realize there are going to be a lot of hurdles for people that never done it. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Like, we're using this platform to contribute to a single repository that's maintained by me. I'm going to be reviewing all the pull requests and issues and things like that. But just saying, don't be afraid to open an issue or suggest something, or like if anything comes up, or take on an existing issue and add a pull request. Yeah, have a contribution section in the README. Also, if people are wondering, this README is exactly this file right here. I just added this to kind of maintain this. Okay. Any questions so far? Is everything clear? Can we go into developing the website? I can go probably walk through how to run the project and how to initialize it, first of all. Good. All that. Good. Cool. All right. Okay, I'm going to switch to VS Code. So I'm actually, okay, this is going to be like a good walkthrough. I'm going to delete the website whatsoever and start from scratch and just show you how to clone the repo, how to work with it, how to just get a website going on your computer so everybody's familiar. All right, so yeah, I have something going on here. So yeah, this website directory is where I'm working. So I'm going to close my VS Code. And I'm going to just remove my website directory. So okay, I don't have anything. How do I start even like getting closer to deployment of anything? So when you go to the GitHub page, you want to go to, well, you have two options actually. You could fork the project if you want to. That will create a repository in your account that will copy exactly the state of my repository in the state it is right now. And that's a completely valid way of doing things. You could like create your own copy, do something with it, create a pull request to the actual website. That's totally cool. A better way, and this will depend on whether you are in our organization or not. And feel free to reach out if you want to be included. So I'm basically inviting anybody who wants to join. If you're included, you could just fetch the code, clone the repository to your machine, and I think you'll be able to create a pull request straight away. But regardless, I think you'll be able to have access to this tab. I'm very like sensitive to this because I don't know what different people with different access to the repository will see. So if I'm doing anything that you cannot do, I mean, obviously I have all full access because I created the repo, right? But if you have some things that you can see, some tabs that are not available, maybe even like text or speak up so I can explain where you can go and what you should do. But for me, I have this code drop down and I can copy the SSH link to the repository. You might want to use HTTPS or SSH depending on your Git setup. This is like going into intricacies of how you set up Git on your local machine. Once again, please reference some official guide for this or pre-watch our earlier videos. But this is like a common flow in Git and GitHub. You just copy the SSH link. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to git clone this in here. And this just created the website folder. You can see that I removed it previously, and we're starting from scratch. So I can go into my website folder. And in my case, I'm going to use VS Code, and I have this command line utility to open the current folder. And this launches my VS Code editor. So this is what I get. All exact same files though you've seen on the GitHub. So first thing you want to do is check your node version and your npm version. So the README specifies that you want a node of more than 14. The version should be 14 or greater, and npm major version should be 5 or greater. So in my case, do node-v. You can see that I'm running 14.17 and npm-v running 6.14. So I'm good. If you will have lower level, like if you will have lower versions, make sure to upgrade. Otherwise, we will have some weirdness going on between our between your changes that you're going to propose, and we'll end up with situation when like your code works fine, but then in my repo it fails, and then it's weird because the code is the same, but it turns out we're running a different node version or something like that. So yeah, make sure at least these requirements are met. And then the first thing you'll need to do in any npm repository is installing the dependencies. And what this means is any nodes or any like node project will have a package JSON and package log JSON. So package JSON is a JSON file that converts some data, some metadata about your repository. The dependencies is very important because this contains all the libraries that our project is going to depend on. In our case, there is some testing libraries, but most importantly, it's React and React DOM. I mean, probably React scripts as well, since that's what we're going to be running. So these are important because unless you have them on your machine, you won't be able to run the project. So you could, to actually install these dependencies, you can either run npm install, or for like a shortcut, you can do npm I. Either way works. And just go ahead and run this. This will take some time. But what we'll do is generate this folder for you. And you also need to understand what this folder is. It's node modules, contains all the source code for the libraries that you're bringing in. So when this finishes, I'm actually going to show you that you will have a folder for each dependency that we brought in. So finished successfully. There were some like warnings and stuff. It brought a lot of things. You'll be like surprised by how large this is because these libraries have their own dependencies. But for example, if we want to find the Reacts and React DOM dependencies, they'll be in here. Let's scroll to them. Yeah, so here's your React. That's the full React library right here. Here's React DOM. And these other folders are just like dependencies that those dependencies depend on, right? So welcome to JavaScript. If you have never seen this, like all of the stuff you depend on is just in one folder in your project. Super important not to commit this to Git in no times. I mean, probably there are cases when you want to, but 99% of times, don't commit node modules to your Git at all. That's why git ignore exists. You want to ignore your node modules. So what git ignore does is when you do a commit or you do any changes to the node modules will not be tracked and they won't be sent to our GitHub repository, right? Won't be persisted. So yeah, that's basically what that is. Going back to package.json, and other important things are scripts that are that you can run. And the way you run these scripts is with npm run. So far we've done npm install, npm run will run any of these scripts. I can do npm run start, npm run build, test, or eject. So the most common one that you'll be doing is start, and start will just provision your project on your machine. So if I do start, you can see that it's running. I mean, this cleared the console too quick. I wonder if I'd be able to scroll up. Yeah, okay, it's doing some trickery. But if you were fast enough, you could have seen that it's running the exact same command here. Don't be afraid of this. Like, this is very, very simple. It's just a shortcut for the commands that you see on the right-hand side. Like, I can write some basic commands here, break everything. I can do like foobar, and then say like, I don't know, cd into my src folder and like echo something, right? Like any command could be present here. And then, okay, stop complaining. And then if I do npm run foobar, here we go. It's cd'd into my src folder, and I would put it at ASD. That's just a shortcut for whatever you see on the right-hand side. That's all it is. So yeah, npm start will actually run the project. So I'm going to do that. For start as a special command, you can run either npm run start, or npm start will also work. Only some commands do that. So npm run works for everything, but npm start also works. So here we go. That's our website. That's basically what you get by default. How did I get this? I didn't write this from scratch. The only thing, like in the README, I specified that this project was generated with a script. And this is like the most basic generator for React projects. This is very simple. You can see there is not a lot of files or folders to explore. Just mainly the src and the public folder. So probably going to just walk through this real quick, explain what everything is, and then we will get to deploying this. Are we clear on how to set this up, run this on our machine? Any questions? Everything is good. Cool. All right. Am I explaining everything like too into detail, or should I be elaborating even more? I'm trying to understand what is like the level of whether if you want me to stop somewhere and actually like spend more time on something, please speak up or like put a question in the chat. I realize there are people who probably never touched any like front-end frameworks or GitHub at all. And probably there are people that have done like a project in React. So I realize that it might be like boring for some and confusing for others, but yeah, if anybody has questions or feedback on how I'm running these sessions, please reach out to me, because that's always valuable. All right.
Actually, you're explaining very well, actually. But actually, I'm a .NET developer, so basically, like this is the first time actually, means I know like GitHub and all, but actually I never used that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The way you are explaining is in detail, actually, means, to be honest with, and it's new actually, so it's just difficult for right now to grasp and to understand all the concept. Yeah. But I do understand that npm and all, because in .NET also, like we have that .NET has its own installer actually, like to install the DLLs and like third parties references and all.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You can like draw analogies between .NET and the .NET infrastructure and what you do in basically anywhere, right? Like you have your I don't know, NuGet packages that you can get, right?
Yeah. NuGet packages, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's all the same everywhere, but slightly different. So if you're familiar with one set of concepts or how it works in one infrastructure, you'll be able to figure it out.
So I have like one particular question in this, like the code which we have written in this, it's a Node.js code, right? The like this architecture, like which we are in right now, like in public, then this like setup test.js and all this, like, is this a Node.js architecture or like what is it?
Yes. So Node.js is a engine on top of what it runs, right? Like it's what actually serves your project. It's how I'm trying to think of like a .NET analogy. It's probably like a .NET runtime, something like that. So you would not like, it's not a language. It's not something you can write something in. It's what actually runs your code, right? We're using JavaScript, pure JavaScript. I mean, JSX as well. So I'm going to be showing how that looks like, but like maybe even here you'll start to see how it's not very like ideal JavaScript. You won't be able to run this without React. So it's doing some like behind the scenes trickery, which I mean, I'm probably not going to go too much, and I don't really understand too much myself, but we're using JavaScript. We're running it on Node.js. I mean, you'll have your CSS, HTML for markup. Yeah, that's
just one more question actually. What like this Node.js and Express.js are both are same, or like, or is there any difference between them, like between Node.js and Express.js?
So Express, oh boy, okay. So Node.js is the engine that runs JavaScript and everything else. So Express.js you would use to develop your API. I actually have, we've done a workshop over a year ago actually on Express. Express is the same library as React. I could easily do like npm installing Express in here. It's just a library I can bring in, and it allows you to create APIs to access, like the same way you would be doing APIs in .NET, right? Writing your controllers and routes and all of that. That's what Express brings in. What we are doing is serving our front end on the Node.js. So we're not concerned about APIs. We're not concerned accessing routes. All of what this will be is just like one. It will compile basically to one HTML file. It's going to be more complicated than this, but that's what it is.
No, thank you actually. Actually, I was confused actually, like between both those two actually, because they haven't mentioned clearly like what is actually Express and what is Node actually. I thought Express was like a framework and Node was like a language, like means which has a particular structure like we have to follow.
Thank you. Yeah, I see you kind of posted in the chat. Webpack transforms the React code to vanilla JavaScript so browser can run it. So yeah, exactly. Like Webpack is another library and another utility, which actually is hidden here. You won't see like any Webpack configuration. That's because of React scripts, and actually this React scripts eject. I was reading about this yesterday. If you run it, it's going to include all of the setup and make sure you can customize all of your like Webpack config and stuff like that. But I wanted to like kind of hide all that for now, because then make sure we focus on React for now. But yeah, that's a very valid point. I'm actually going to show this. The other thing you have here is build. So if I run npm run build. This will produce a build folder for me for distributing my website to production. So I could place this build folder to, like, I don't know, a computer somewhere that has access, that is accessible through internet, and my website would be in there. It's a plain, like, it's what actually being compiled to, like what Webpack does, right? You have your index HTML, and then there's a bunch of JavaScript, CSS, but you won't have any files that look like this. You won't have this weird like mix of HTML and JavaScript that we're going to be running. Yeah, this is pretty interesting how this all works. Okay. So just a couple of things to explain how we got this page to actually run in the spinning like logo. The entry point of the app is index.js. If you will look into, so the public folder is like all the static stuff. I don't know, maybe somebody can explain this better than me, but the public folder is all the static files that you have in your project, and it has like the entry points to your application. And if you will look into index.html, so let's see, it has the logo, which it includes. So this is our logo, the manifest JSON, a lot of comments actually, which we don't really need. But yeah, this is important. This is what your app will essentially be. This div with the ID of root. React will replace this div with whatever it wants to render at any point of time in here. So if we go back to index.js, it's doing a thing you probably know from a couple of first classes in JavaScript, document get element by ID. Actually, I'm gonna put this right hand side. So it's fetch it. It's basically what it does is fetches this element by ID and replaces it with this markup with this HTML. And this app component is defined in the, in the app.js file. So you can see that we import app from .app. This import statement says that it's this file in this directory. So if I open this up, this has the actual contents of the web page. It has the image with the logo. I'm going to explain later how they made it so it spins. You can actually, do we see this? Yeah, we see this message of edits any app.js to save to reloads. So if I, for example, if I edit this message, and I save, you can see that it's compiling, it's updating, and now all of this is like pretty real time, pretty cool, right? So this is very easy to develop. And then you have like your link and everything. So the way they made this image to rotate is through CSS, some media transformations, but this CSS will apply to this component, to app.js in app CSS. And that's pretty much it. So React is not that complicated. It just allows you to take your HTML and separate it into different components and make your, like, on the basic level, that's what it does. Of course, there are more to it, much more than this. But it allows you to actually have like manageable markup living within your JavaScript. All right, let's get this to the world, shall we? Okay, I'm actually going to show a good example of how to create a pull request as well. So what changes did we do so far? Remove some comments, change this. I don't care about this. I'm going to reset these changes. Git reset hard. So this will just get rid of whatever I've done so far. And I'm going to switch to a new branch, and we're going to be working on that branch to deploy the website. So git checkout -b for new branch. And I'm going to say, so I'm probably going to enforce some branch names, but let's see, we have a first issue here, set up Firebase deployment. So what I'm going to do is say, I'm going to call this feature-1 and then / what it is, like deployment. And I think this would be a good like naming convention, like what the branch does. Is it a feature? Is it a bug fix? Or is it a documentation branch? The number of the branch, sorry, the number of the issue that you're referencing. So this one matches the first issue ever opened on the repository. And then there's some description about what the branch is about and what changes you're doing. So now I'm on a new branch. Cool. So what are we going to be using for deployment? We're going to be using Firebase. Let's close a couple of things here. Here's our Firebase. I have some projects here, but we'll create a project from scratch. So I'll call this GDSC Conestoga. I hope that's not taken. That's great. Cool. Sure, I'm gonna actually enable analytics for this project. It would be cool to see, like, have a visual representation of who visits the website. I actually don't know which one to click here. I'm unsure. All right, so what I'm doing here is just creating a new Firebase project. If you don't know what Firebase is, check out the video. There is a video I've done on Firebase, but in a nutshell, it's just like a backend as a service thing. You can have your database in there. You can host your website on there. It's mobile first. That's why you will see like iOS and Android as first options, but you can also like have a web page here as well. So, all right. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. So we have a bunch of, whoops, didn't mean to do that. We have a bunch of sections in here. And the one we're interested in is hosting. So let's get started. All right, so it's giving us this npm install Firebase tools. I already have this, but I'll probably put this in README. So this might be another step that you'll need to do. The -G flag means that this will be installed globally and could be accessed not only in our project, but anywhere globally on the system. Also show me steps to add Firebase JavaScript SDK to my web app. I don't really want that. Yeah, I already have this, so I'm good to go to the next step. All right, and then I need to do Firebase login and Firebase init in there. Let's do it. So we're in our new branch here, and I'm gonna do Firebase init. I was going to just initialize this repository as connected to Firebase. So the first question it's going to ask me is what actual like things do I want to include in this? Like what sections of Firebase do I want to include in the repository? And I want to both configure files for deployment, Firebase hosting, and optionally set up GitHub Actions deploys. Right, yeah, I want this option. So GitHub Action deploys are actually the second issue that we're going to be facing. That's the thing I was talking about when you like commit to master, our website will update. You'll be able to access it. So, okay, for now, I just want this option. So space to select, enter to confirm, use an existing project because I already created one. Let's see, GDSC Conestoga. Now, what do you want to use as your public directory? So public directory is the folder that will contain hosting assets to be uploaded to Firebase deploy. If you have a build process for assets, use your builds output directory. So funny enough, it's not going to be our public directory that we have, and that's not what it's suggesting. It's important to specify the one we need. It's the build directory that I was talking about earlier. So when we run, if you recall, when we run npm run build, all these files that I'm looking at right now will be compiled into like a bundle of pure HTML, JavaScript, CSS that can go onto like a website. All of it's minified, optimized, so it's like minimal size, and that can go on my server and be deployed. So I'm going to specify build as my folder. Configure a single page app. Yes, because it is a single. I don't really get this setting, but sure. Let's do this. So I'm going to go builds and deploys to GitHub. Sure, I'll do that. Maybe we do this separately. Let's do this separately. I'm going to say no for now. File build index already exists. I don't want to override it because the build will override this anyway. And we're good to go. So with this added Firebase RC, the project selection, and Firebase JSON. This is a configuration file that will kind of enable us to configure the deployment and how that needs to work. Not going to focus on it right now, but for now it's like, hey, your public folder is built. Your rewrites are index HTML. So we should be good to go. If you believe in hosting, Firebase hosting, the only command you need to run is Firebase deploy. So let's test this out. Firebase deploy. While this is compiling, I'm going to continue. All right. Deploy complete. Here's our website. Check this out. We have a website, people. I like Firebase because it's very easy. Like you don't need to do much if you have stuff configured. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to commit my changes. So okay, I'm not going to do shortcuts. Git add everything and git commit. I'm going to say add Firebase deployment. Cool. Now, if you have your new branch and you want to push it to remote, you can just do git push. You'll need to do git push origin -u as like new branch. Origin, which is the name of your remote, and then the name of the branch that you want to be called on GitHub. So in my case, it's going to be the same. And I don't know, I always tend to name branches the same as my local branches. So usually you just do git push to sync your changes, but if it's a new branch, you can do this. So feature one deployment. And what this does is now, if we go to GitHub, you can see that our branch is ready to create a pull request from. In fact, if I refresh, I should see this branch on GitHub. So either through the command line, you can click on this link and create a pull request, or GitHub prompts you on the website. I'm going to compare and pull request. And I've set up some like template here that you probably want to fill out. So the first one is describe what changes does this PR bring to the repository, and we'll say that enables running Firebase deployment and fixes issue number 1, set up Firebase deployment. That's it. So I'm going to create a pull request. Everything's green, able to merge. This is it. Here's my pull request. I have, well, actually 3 files changed. Oh, right. Yeah, it's committing a cache, which I'm not a big fan of, but sure. And then, yeah, the Firebase RC file and Firebase JSON file. So pretty simple, right? And this allows us to do Firebase deploy in our project. So you'll notice that there were no, like, it was so easy. It's as if anybody can deploy the website to Firebase, right? It's a bit trickier than this because one of the steps that Firebase told us to do was to do Firebase login, which I've already done. So the CLI, the thing that's running the deployment in the command line already knows that it's me, it's my Google account. So only I have access to actually deploy something to the website. If you do the same thing on your machine, unfortunately, you won't be able to override the website from your changes. So yeah, just to keep in mind as well. But you could create your Firebase project and deploy a copy of the website. That's totally fine if you want to test it out or something like that. But yeah, I've created this like as an example pull request, but if you would be creating this, also make sure to add me as a reviewer. I'm not in the options here because I'm the author of the pull request. But make sure to add me as a reviewer so I can go ahead, look through your files, maybe run the website on my machine, verify everything works. Then I'll approve your changes and we can merge the pull request. So now if I merge the pull request, this will just make sure that the changes from this branch go into the master branch. And the master branch is the one, the only, the source of truth, which will be posted on our website. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So merge pull request, merge 7, blah, blah, blah. I'm actually probably going to do some like settings here to do squash and merge instead. Cool. And make sure to clean up the branch as well. When you completed the feature, you don't really need the branch anymore. Now I can go back to my to-do boards, and actually the automation took care of this, but you can see that this issue got automatically closed. It's no longer open. We resolved this and it's in the done column. So it's very easy to track what we're going to do. All right. How do you feel? I can do we're already an hour in. First of all, did you have any questions with the deployment piece? If so, feel free to ask them. If you want to, I can also show how to do CI/CD real quick. Up to you, or we can wrap up here if people need to run. I'm good either way. What do you think? Anyone? All right, let's actually, yeah. Let's probably wrap this up. I was advertising these sessions as like under an hour chill, like watch me do stuff and maybe learn something. So let's keep it this way. I'm pretty satisfied with what we've got so far. So we have the repository going, we have some issues around. If you have requests for enhancements. Make sure to create issues. I've shown you how to do that. And yeah, okay, so I remember there was I remember there was a question about Discord, so I'll probably address that. And yeah, I'll probably answer some questions and wrap it up here. I did not know Firebase deployment was that easy. Yeah, exactly. Firebase was awesome. Yeah, they really made Firebase hosting like to the point. Do we need Firebase project access in future if you want to run the website on my machine? No. So all that I've done is actually you don't need this. You just follow the same steps that I was showing in the start, like npm install and npm run start to npm start. Those are the two commands you need. Like npm start doesn't depend on Firebase at all, right? So I can run this. It's going to run the deployment server, and like here's the website running on my machine. That's totally fine.
What to do like if we want like Firebase access actually?
Well, I'm not
Is
gonna
it like
give you any.
is it like we have to pay for it? Like is it we have to pay for it, or is it free like? Or do they
Firebase
give a free?
Okay, let me show you. So Firebase has like some tiers. There is a no-cost tier for like a Spark plan for personal projects, small projects. I think we qualify. And there is a Blaze plan if you want to scale. If you have like, I don't know, 1,000, 1 million users, and you don't like your website is like bombarded with requests and your database is like super big. Or you have actually with Blaze plan, you have more features as well. But right now, sorry, I love Zoom, but I hate Zoom. Like I don't see my central tabs. But for now, we are on the Spark plan, $0 per month. We could upgrade anytime. So there are limitations, obviously. So for let's find our hosting here. So for hosting, it's 10 gigabytes of storage. And this is probably like static file storage. For example, if you serve any images or you serve any like audio files, video files, that counts towards the 10 gigabytes. And then data transfer when people are like accessing your website, they're downloading this. Oh yeah, the storage means probably like storage on the machine that's running your website. Like your website can be larger than 10 gigabytes, which I think it's a very like generous quote. Custom domain SSL. I mean, custom domain you'll need to pay for, I think. If you want to get, at least if you want to get rid of the .app.firebase, because if you've seen the link that I've sent has, sorry, .web.app. GDSC Conestoga I can customize, but web app stays. And yeah, you can have multiple sites per project. It has SSL, so it's HTTPS. Pretty generous. Like, I think it's a very, very good option for like a demo or a website you want to launch for yourself. For your purposes, if you want to contribute to the website, you don't need Firebase at all. I just set this up because I actually want people to access the website. But I mean, you don't really need to care about this. Okay.
So like, can we access the one which GDSC have like?
I'm asking about the project itself. This thing?
No, means the like the GDSC, like they have like a Firebase account, right? So can we use that, or it is just specific to the?
This is my account. This is my
okay.
account.
Okay, this is a personal account. Okay.
This is my personal one. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Cool. Yeah. Any questions, feedback, concerns, suggestions? Probably gonna wrap up here.
Session was great, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been quite a long, actually, to have an actual technical session.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I hope this was like not too complicated for people seeing React for the first time and not too boring for people who've already done this. But at least I think like the hosting piece should have been cool. So yeah, all right. We have one more question as well. So we're going to build this website in the future workshop. Yeah, of course, this is running every Monday. Going to be running, so yeah, like Monday, 6 p.m. The link is the same, everything's the same. If you want to join later, if you time doesn't work for you perfectly, that's totally fine. Yeah, I wanted to make this like a very chill, like do whatever. I'm not going to be preparing these too much. You'll find me like Googling stuff and like looking in the docs all the time. I'm not going to be pretend that I know everything. I've done some of it. I can teach some of it, but I definitely don't know a lot of this, and I haven't done a React website in a long time. So hopefully it's going to be fun for both you listening and me doing this. And you can do this as well, right? So this is completely open source. Anybody can contribute and add stuff, add code. All right. Thank you for joining. I hope this was interesting. If you don't have access to Discord, please send me a message. Otherwise, I'll be out on Discord if you need me. So yeah, thanks for joining, everyone. Bye-bye.